Hey Taurus, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for September 5th through the 11th, 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Taurus, this week we've got a sort of split week, two different things taking place. Generally speaking, we've got the easy aspects, first half of the week here around Tuesday and Wednesday, collectively speaking. And then the weekend challenging here collectively, particularly with the emphasis on Saturn squaring up to Neptune, which is the last and final aspect with this. It's been going on since November. For those of you who've been following me, I've been talking a lot about this, this uncertainty, this perhaps even doubt about the things we're building in life if the mind gets too caught up into the details of things. So it is a really good week to challenge ourselves both spiritually in terms of being present and accepting things for how they are, as well as striving towards building things into the future, right? The slow and steady approach through presence. So I'll talk more about this, but let's go ahead and look at the week in terms of how things are unfolding. The beginning of the week has these supportive aspects. We'll be in the crescent phase of the solar eclipse cycle, which that solar eclipse was last week. So it's been all these new beginnings now, and this whole month is very transformational. And for you, relating to your fourth house, which is the house of your home for some of you. Some of you, it's your family. Some of you, it's your health. And so this is the foundation of life, right? It's the roots. And so it's the time, as it has been this year, for you to connect to those roots, to get those foundations established, whether it's in the external environment, such as home or location, maybe it's with your family, or your root of your health, your body, connecting to your body and having that temple structured and having that foundation there. So continuing new beginnings with this, and the sun trining up to Pluto on Tuesday, Wednesday, certainly supportive for all of these roots in your life, these foundational things, basically your personal life. Could be good openness, could be good intimacy, which is Pluto from the 8th house, trining up to the sun. In fact, collectively, our self-expression might be quite deep and meaningful here this early part. Now, speaking of your self-expression, though, you guys do have Venus transiting your 5th house. So there is certainly an emphasis on this. It can be for some of you a very creative time, for others just merely expressing yourself quite a bit at the moment. And usually with Virgo too, it's a bit practical. So maybe it's coming through your work. Maybe it's creative on that level. Some of you might be cultivating some new interests or hobbies, things like that. Some good positive energy for that this early part of the week. And a lot of this has been involving what you've been building with relationships. So good positive energy from the relationship sector this early part of the week as well. You could be feeling quite disciplined with that self-expression. And all in all, because it's your ruler, maybe even quite disciplined yourself, making it a very good first half of the week for not only the creative side of things, but the work, the routine, the productive life in that sense. All right, so that's the first half of the week. Then as we go into the second half of the week, Saturn squaring up to Neptune is suggesting, again, this acceptance, living in the present moment as best as we can. And a lot of this is involving those relationships with Saturn in the 7th, because that's where you're building your structures. That's where you can be challenging yourself at this time to build long-lasting relationships. And with your career, which is Neptune in the 10th. But the career stuff is about really living in the present moment with that, because that's where Neptune is, and detaching all outcomes and really doing things through your career because it provides that soul food, that satisfaction, that it connects to your soul. It's meaningful to you in that sense. But again, that's all accessed in presence. So this is the last aspect. It's been going on since November. The key with this is this final integration will be to implement and move forward all of these things we've learned about here, in this case, patience with relationships or maturity, groundedness there, as well as connecting to your career on that soul level and living in the present moment and detaching any any projections about it, future projections about your career, which can sometimes cloud things and confuse things with Neptune. And there's also the South Node. Let's not forget there's old patterns being released, and any over extremes relating to career being released at the moment as well. All again for you to be focusing on this, these roots, these foundations. It's time to be cultivating that personal life. All right, so that's the Saturn squaring Neptune. We are going to have your ruler squaring up to Pluto over the weekend as well. So this can be deep change with you, breaking old patterns over the weekend. And especially with Pluto in your 8th house, it's already been doing that. And Venus in your 5th, it's really what it's doing. It's breaking any attachments you might have relating to yourself, you know, self-image, who you are, the ego, basically our self-image, our perspective of self, you know, unless it's from that essential core, which is what Pluto really does. It strips away all of the mental noise, all of the layers, all of the concepts, in this case of self, so that we can connect to the true essence of who we are. But it's not easy in the square. It does require breaking old emotional patterns, breaking old belief systems, and just generally old karmic things. So it's a good weekend to challenge yourself with that. As a result, you'll likely find that your self-expression is transforming, which is Venus in the 5th house. And then again, perhaps a bit of that creativity and those things close to the heart could be transforming as well. Now, Mercury is going retrograde back into your 4th over the weekend. I do want to mention that it's a great weekend for rethinking the home life, the family life, and even the health, reestablishing yourself here. This will be mostly going into next week, but over the weekend, see where you can modify some things. See where you can learn some things about this, about these foundations here. And in that way, you can learn a lot, bring extra attention there with things around that area of life, because sometimes we can be on autopilot with Mercury retrograde, but openness to learn is always a great way of cultivating that energy. All right, so that's the week in a nutshell. Saturn squaring Neptune, the strongest energy, challenging ourselves to, again, live in the present moment, involving relationships and that career energy, all for you to be cultivating those roots. And leading up to that weekend, some good supportive aspects from your, to your ruler from Saturn, with a bit of discipline, good for the productive side of life, also good for that deep, intimate self-expression with Pluto in the 8th, all again transforming these changes with your foundations, your roots. All right, so Taurus, have a great week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.